In this video, I want to show how making an abstract painting is about playing with the interaction between surface and objects, to use colour and form to introduce the feeling of the objects and the relationships towards each other. This is my way of making a painting. I hope you find it useful to progress your own way of interpreting your subject. These are the colours I used to make the painting: cadmium red medium, cadmium yellow medium, quinacridone magenta, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, black and white, and these are the swatches I made to help me choose the colours as I went along. I want to say I did start this painting in a workshop. I wanted to show how I make a painting from beginning to end, showing people, the mistakes you make and the problems you come up against. But I ended up making it in my studio. Each painting I make is part of my journey. Every one of them needs my full attention and fluidity to complete. In a workshop environment, that is difficult. Here, this image shows the simplifying and quietening of the previous pass. This was before I had chosen a palette of colours and the technique of using the colour and forms in the image rather than gestural marks I'd started with. Right, here we go. I started using a piece of card to give me sort of straight edges, to give the idea of the buildings and the straight edges of the buildings. Concentrating on making sure that the position of the straight lines were placed at different angles. So as you can see with the colour swatches at the top, I've used a sort of light terracotta colour because at the moment we're still in the lower layers of the painting, so you don't want to be trying to finish the painting too soon. So I'm deciding how far to go with this line, and it's going all the way to the bottom. So I have decided on the subject, I've decided on the colour palette, I've decided that I'm going to rely upon blocks of colour to create this painting. And it just will come together a bit at a time. That's as far as the plan has gone. Now it's just building it. So I've got some green going down in the bottom to give the impressions of plants down in the corner, but also making that corner look so you look into the painting from the corner. So there's green going in different places. I'm looking at balance. Again, I'm having a go with this card. I think I'll probably give up with the card in a while, but so this is white coming down the middle because I love white. White gives space, it helps the painting to breathe and gives direction. Again, I'm using my water bottle. Water and acrylics are just fantastic together. I use a lot of water. Because with acrylic it's very difficult to blend, so not like with oil, you can blend for a long time because it stays wet for so long. Acrylic dries very quickly, so you have to use different techniques to blend colours, whether it be tonal values on top of each other, giving you the sense of change in tone, or whether you use water to blend when it's wet. Or sometimes for me, scratching in will also have the effect of toning. All the work that I'm doing now is creating underlayers and little bits for me to work with. So I'm still at the stage of trying things out. The method I'm using really is just overlaying colours and forms on top of each other, trying to get a feeling of depth eventually. It's not going to happen yet, but it will come along. Using different tonal values, different colours with different colours, keeping an eye on the forms and the tonal forms that are appearing. Like for at the moment you can see those three dark shapes in amongst the blue. I'm not sure about them yet, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to keep working on top. Here I'm trying a little bit of a gestural mark and a bit of water to soften the edges. On top of the green, on top of the sort of terracotta colour. Here I'm warming the dark up with a bit of red in it. Bit of red in the mix. See, those little drips are still there. There aren't many left, but I've left those little drips there. And this little bit of dark is going down in that little tiny bit of dark to balance up the big dark area on the left hand side. So now I'm trying out with those three shapes. I've accentuated them, made them larger. And this is me trying out the pink of the geraniums that are climbing on the wall. At the moment I'm really enjoying that pink against that blue, either side of that blue. That's interesting. And I'm just deciding how far I want to go. Oh no, I've done it again. The times I get so involved in what I'm doing I forget to turn the camera on. So this is what I've done. Ultra Blue has broken up the three smaller dark shapes above the pink. The orange has travelled across the painting from its largest shape to make four shapes altogether. That represents the terracotta pots. I've added a lighter pink to what are the geraniums. I've decided I want to use more of the pink in this painting, so there are enough strong shapes to stop the painting being too busy for me. This is a perfect example of not being too precious. I found that the lighter pink I'd put on top of the pink was just too busy. So I've put some big marks of pink over the top. So I'm going in with a neutral pale green around my lovely orange shapes, which I really like. So all the time my instinct is telling me where I want to go, and I'm trying it out. That pale green I think has worked really well down there. Bit more pale blue again on top, a different colour, breaking up the strong ultramarine blue. Then I've got a smaller brush, making some little gestural marks with the blue over the top of the lighter blue, giving the feeling of movement in the sky. There, I'm putting a bit of light in now, lighter terracotta colour, sitting on top of the other darker colour, which gives depth, so that can you see that what the darker colour behind is sitting behind is giving me depth. So that's gone over the pale green. It's really difficult to add colour on the top of other colours and not being too busy. So the strength of the white is coming back in again. I'm looking at the volume of it, making sure that it's big enough to carry the painting. Yeah, so I'm making it a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, deciding where I want to put it. Leaving up little bits. Here comes the card again. I think the card is giving me the straight lines that I'm trying out to give the impression of the edges of the buildings. So trying again a lighter pink on top of the darker pink, using gestural marks, just trying not to make them too small, being really careful where I put them. You see how now I've put that lighter colour on, everything else is sitting now behind it. I think they call this a push and pull of abstract painting. Yeah, putting the water on, being very careful, making some shapes, but really trying not to do too many. See, now we're coming to putting on more thoughtful marks on top. See, here comes some lighter orange on top of the darker orange. So whereas before I was putting on colour anywhere, then to putting on colour in thought out places, then adding light. Now I'm wanting to add contrast, but I'm not quite sure how I want to do it. So I'm trying the shapes, trying to represent windows and doors, but I'm not sure it's working. And because of that, I've now got a smaller brush and I'm trying out shapes. Yeah, that's giving a different angle coming across. So I'm not trying to copy anything, I'm just trying to get feelings of a Mediterranean street. So now we're going even lighter with a very much lighter green, and this is positioned more into the middle of the painting so that it brings your eye to the middle, next to the white. Again, softening the edges. Balancing the green on either side of the white, coming up there. I just know when I look at it, I go, that needs to be there. I need to put that there. So I'm scratching in a bit. Because even if I didn't go over the top of that, it still gives some interest. So at every point, I never know whether I'm going to be painting on top or not. So we've got some pink coming over the top of the other shapes, so we're overlapping and overlapping and overlapping, bringing one colour into another. Obviously dry, because you don't want to put wet paint on top of wet paint because it just goes muddy. So charcoal, I haven't used any charcoal at all till now. I think down there I'm trying to give the impression of the cobblestones, or of cobblestones, or the stones. But you have to be careful because I don't want to be predictable. Now that mark is trying to give direction, leading the viewer's eye. And this is representing a little bit of detail of the geranium flowers. Strengthening them up the white with texture. Really thick impasto, big brush. Right, I need some contrast. So even though this really isn't in the painting, it needs it, because nobody's going to see the image. Nobody's going to compare the image. So, you know, this is the freedom you've got. But we've got to design the painting and make decisions about contrast and how we're going to do it. balancing it up. I've got a dark green now going over the top of the very, very dark that I've just put in, which isn't black, it's a mixture of cerulean blue, black, a little bit of yellow. There, you see, you can feel that you need more light there. Yes, I just really needed and wanted to put this light here in the middle. Extending the light. Yeah, I'm trying again on that pink. Yeah, I thought so. It was too light. See, I think I'm trying the same idea again. I don't think it works. So, trying a bit of darker quinacridone, cadmium yellow, and a bit of white. Just a little bit of white because it's quite a dark colour. There's a little bit of yellow in that white. Bit of lighter tone on the orange. This paint's quite thick now that I'm putting on. Scratching in so the orange from underneath is coming through. There comes the pink again. Big brush. A bit of darker as well. It's getting better. Bringing it down onto the orange, you would never think that pink could go over orange. That's why you have to try these things out. The colours that are shown on the video really aren't true to the actual painting. It's much richer, the actual painting. It's because my studio is so bright and light. I have a lot of light coming in. So we've got some blue now, which works very, very well in a lot of paintings. I don't know why, but it just seems to work really well. Blue. See, I'm holding the brush at the very, very end. It sort of makes looser marks. The nearer the hairs, the more you are controlling the marks you're making. Bit of charcoal again. I use charcoal sometimes to mirror the strong mark of paint that's gone in. You put a little mirror mark next to a painted mark with charcoal, and it sort of helps to make it move and have movement. And sometimes putting charcoal straight over a colour along the edge just breaks up the shape and makes it a little bit more interesting. Little tiny marks. They are just enough to give a little bit of scale to the whole painting without making it busy. Here I'm trying out putting in a darker blue with a straight edge to give the impression of the shutters on the buildings. I also feel that I've got a dark side to the painting and a light side to the painting. So the light side is where the sun is hitting the buildings, and the dark side is where the shadow is and where there's a big heavy dark door. And at the moment when I paint, I do seem to have a dark side and a light side, and that's why I always let each of my paintings evolve. They're never a practice or something that I've achieved before, just that I can show you. All of these paintings are unique and the first time I've ever done them, and I'm always striving for new things and new ways. My future plans are to bring in more light into the painting as a whole, being really brave and really putting lots of light and white and pale colours in, but I'm not sure how to do that yet. Anyway, here's the completed painting. Here's another one of my wobbly close-ups. Just a little bit of drip and the oranges and the colours on top of each colour, the contrast. There, so you can see the balance of all the colours, the oranges and the blues. I don't feel that there's too much of anything. To me, that's just a nice balance. And there it is in black and white, tonally. So you can see the tonal values. So anyway, thank you very much for watching.